This is the design guide for our Site Takeover Flex series, available by typing in Site Takeover Flex. This particular ad is ad ID number 65317, and we're going to start by looking at the 728 by 90 version of the ad. We'll go ahead and do a preview here, and these ads are designed to, exactly like they say, take over the background HTML of your site. So typically you're going to have a static or a gradient color in the background, but when this ad loads, the site is actually reconfigured to contain either one large image or multiple repeating images for users' logos, etc., behind your page content. This gives you a lot of flexibility on the design end in terms of how you want this background to look. This is a sample where we took one big image and put a lion, for instance, on either side. And basically the ad core ad unit, the 728 by 90, are built using our Designer Flex templates. So if you're familiar with those, basically you can have up to 7 rotating images in here and really configure them to say whatever you want. So the whole idea is this is very flexible and designer friendly. Now, taking this over into the ad builder, there is no text elements. They're all images. And again, as I referenced, these are built using our Designer Flex ads. So you have your first image, second image, third image, fourth, fifth, and final image, which are going to be for the 728 by 90. And again, you can control in the settings tab how many sections you want to show, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, plus the final. Now at the bottom here is where you're going to control the HTML background image. This really can be any size, and this can be tailored to fit your website perfectly. So as we showed before, we currently have the version that's running as the entire background one big image here. If we swap it out for a smaller 200 by 215 image, use this item, we can actually have it repeat behind. So we'll show you that example here. And now once the ad loads, you'll notice we took one image and had it repeat multiple times behind your page content. Now this can be configured to either, as we're looking at it here, the ad immediately takes over the background when it loads. There's also options to only have it take over the background when a user rolls over the ad, and we'll show you all those here in a moment. So again, that's how you upload your images. They're just going to be configured just like the Designer Flex template. Aside, the only additional here is the final background image that you're going to use. Colors, this is your final headline color, border color, and HTML background color. Now, if you want to, you can actually swap out a flat color that you currently use for a different color. We'll tell you why you might want to do that here in a moment. Click-through URLs, you can have one for each section of the template. And again, the only hit area is actually going to be on the template, the actual ad 728 by 90 itself, not on the background. So now coming into settings, lots of different custom settings. Your typical ones for the ad, for the 728 by 90 version up here. What's your second delay between slides, meaning how long do you want them on screen? Do you want them to rotate continuously or a certain number of times? Do you want a border around the ad? If so, what's the thickness? What's the border corner radius? 0 gives it a 90-degree angle. Do you want to show the border? Do you want to use the final image in the series of your actual, this is for, again, the 728 by 90 ad portion? What's the fade duration of those images? Total amount of sections, as we went over, how many do you want to show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, plus the final. Now, getting into the actual configurations for the background image. So would you like this HTML image to repeat? So if you say your options are repeat, no repeat, inherit, repeat X, repeat Y. Now what this means is, for instance, if we say no repeat, and remember to follow the syntax exactly here with a dash, and we preview the ad, instead of that ad, the image repeating in the background, basically we just have one image and it's no longer repeating. So obviously if you're going to do a small image, you want to set that to repeat. Yes. So let's go back here, or just repeat as opposed to repeat no. Now if we put repeat X, this will be a slight, this will be subtle, but what this means is it's going to actually start repeating horizontally along the x-axis, so it'll repeat like a typewriter. Think of it, repeats this way, starts on the next line, repeats to the right, repeats to the right. If we do repeat Y, it's going to start repeating vertically, and then when it hits the bottom of the page, it'll start from the top each time. So these can all be slight tweaks depending on how your site is laid out. Are you a center justified site, left justified site? You can play with these settings to basically make sure that your repeating image repeats where you want to, it lines up with the site and things like that. Next variable down here is HTML image positioning. Where do you want it to start? So you noticed when we said no repeat, we had one image at the top of the screen. That's because we had this image start at the top and repeat out left and right. So basically, because it was a center justified site, typically you're going to want to do that if you're center justified. You'll notice the difference. Again, if we preview this again, since it starts at the center, I was able to align it. I knew my site was exactly 1,000 pixels wide, so I was able to line the left edge of this one up. I made them each 200 pixels wide, so 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, and that's basically 1,000 pixels total. If I, for instance, say I want to start this on the left top, instead of starting from the center, this image is actually going to be started at the top left, so you'll notice now I have a whole lion head up here, but because my site's center justified, it no longer lines up as nicely. So again, you don't have to do it this way, but that's up to you, and it's a design consideration. Do you want to change the background color? So what this means is, for instance, if we say on rollover, this is aside now from the actual image you're putting in here. Do you want to put a color in here? And I believe we have this set as HTML background color. Let's make this green so we really see it. And we'll say we want to, so your options are background color and then the background image. Let's start with background image. So you notice right away this is rendering, or this is the background swapping out immediately when we come to the page. If we change this to, instead of on render, to on rollover, and we preview this now, notice the background color stays static until I actually hover. So this is an option you want to talk to your salespeople, obviously, before they start selling it, as to how you want to do this. More often than not, people tend to want to have it regardless of whether someone rolls over, but it is an option. It makes a little more pop and impact sometimes if you just do it on rollover, but that again necessitates the viewer to actually roll over it with their mouse. Now, if I say again on rollover here, and I want to change the background color on render, that means if I haven't rolled over it but the page has rendered, now I'm actually swapping out the color, the background color of the page when it first pops up, and then when I roll over it changes. So it's, again, if you need that as part of your design, you may or may not ever need the background color, meaning if you just want your site to look normal without it, you just say never. So that's pretty much it for the design guide. As always, this is a bit of a more complex one in terms of the design variables. If you have any questions, give us a call at 866-467-2289.